Today's episode of the Button Up Podcast is brought to you by Grooming Lounge. Tap or swipe the cover art for this episode for a link to groominglounge.com, where you can find everything you need for excellent shaving, beard care, skin care, and hair. If you want luscious locks like Brock is rocking right now, you need the best products to tame that mane. They carry in premium brands you love, including Jack Black, Baxter of California, Kiehl's, and more, but they also have their signature line of products, which includes my favorite deodorant. If you're like me, you probably use the same deodorant as your dad, and after nearly 15 years, I was ready to ditch the spice and go with an aluminum-free deodorant, which Grooming Lounge calls the greatest pits. Grooming Lounge has been in business for 20 years, delivering high-quality goods online in their 2 brick-and-mortar stores in the DC area. For my birthday this year, Brock is treating me to a mani-pedi in their Tyson's Corner store because I heard such good things from his dad's experience, and if you haven't had a barber take a sharp blade to your face with luxurious hot foam recently, it is time to treat yourself. Please visit groominglounge.com, use the code BUTTONEDUP for 15% off your order. If you use the link in the show notes and you DM me a screenshot of your favorite Grooming Lounge product, I may just send you that product. Thank you to Grooming Lounge for supporting the Button Up Podcast, and remember to use the code BUTTONEDUP for 15% off your order. Now enjoy our wide-ranging discussion with Brian Sacawa, founder of He Spoke Style. It's good. This has been troubleshooting with Brock and John.
Oh my God, yeah, John. I actually downloaded this app too, and you actually look pretty good, I have to say. As an older man, I looked disgusting.
Oh, I know. The face app. You don't want to post anything.
Yeah, no, I mean, it doesn't even look like me. See, this photo looks like you.
That's scary because I don't. It's frightening looking at your own mortality, I think.
It is. Yeah, it's a little unnerving.
I think I look a lot like my father, and what the face app did to age me does not look anything like my father. So.
What shocked me around when I saw those pictures coming up is like how well the hair is done in a lot of them. Like Travis White posted one, and the way that his locks were flowing in the gray that's what most disturbed me.
I haven't seen his.
Well, his wife posted one of him and her, and he said like in the aging app she didn't age Asian genes, and it's true. Like he looked way older. She had a hat on, so. But Brian, welcome back to the Button Up Podcast. I think we should start there because some of the best stuff happens before the mics are ever really running. But
I agree.
It's been about 18 months since we had you on, and at the time, we told your story a little bit. We'll give a recap for people who don't know that, but we want to have you back on just because I think some of the best conversations we have are when people come back on when a lot of the groundwork is laid, but then also talk about what you've done in that time, what you've learned. And I know last year when we talked, you were like really interested in YouTube and you wanted to lean into it, and you did it, and now it's been paying off. And so we just want to kind of chat about that kind of stuff because I think that's what the audience is into. I want to hear about it. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to be back talking with you guys again, and nothing is off limits. Let's just put it that way.
Oh, good. So right. I would give a quick recap of yourself and how you became He Spoke Style, and then we'll kind of get into what you've been up to in the last 18 months.
All right, I'm going to put a timer on for this one. So yeah, my name is Brian Sacawa. I'm the founder of He Spoke Style. Started it about 6.5 years ago at this point, February of 2013, basically to fill a void in menswear online. There wasn't really a site that I was that spoke to me as at the time 35-year-old guy. I'm 41 now. And I was looking for something that sort of combined the information of information of sites like Gentleman's Gazette, Ask Andy About Clothes, with the inspiration of some of like the younger, more fashion forward or style guys. But I was looking for a site that combined those two in a more classic style, and there really wasn't one at the time. So started that site, and it just went from there. So that's kind of the elevator speech of where I've been or where it came from. And it's been great just to share what I do, it's my journey basically, and it's been cool that people have responded to it, and I think we all kind of can relate to that in some way or another.
Yeah, and what I like too is you started out in. I've seen 4 FOHR. They've said this about their stuff is they've worked with influencers since they were bloggers. Like you started out as a true OG blogger, and then you've kind of adapted the platforms as they've come up.
And I have to say, like, I've had conversations with Brock about this, but like, it's been hard for me to like let go of the website, and I still don't want to. I still think there's a lot of value in it, but in this space, it's always changing and evolving. And as a creator or someone in the space, you have to be aware of these changes that are happening. Like if I still had, I'm not that I had a MySpace page for He Spoke Style, but if like that was all I was still doing, I don't think we'd be talking right now. So you always have to kind of have your ear to the ground in a way and see like what is becoming, what platforms people are engaging on the most. And you need to, I wouldn't say change what you do, but at least sort of adapt what you are already doing to fit into those platforms that are the most important at the moment.
Look, sometimes you drive a sports car, sometimes you drive a Suburban. It's like, I love Brock's analogy of being a small media company. It's like the New York Times went from black and white to color, and then went online. And it's like for bloggers, you had to go where the audience is. And it's like, if I look at people on airplanes or trains, or if I'm out in the world, people are on Instagram. It is like, it's insane.
I know. Yeah, I mean, I have like a love-hate relationship with Instagram. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but
same.
But for me,
I'd say hate love instead of love hate.
Yeah, mostly hate.
I like that. I have a hate-love relationship with Instagram. Yeah. I mean, at some point, I'm always feel like I'm a little bit late to the game in adapting to these like changes in platforms and stuff as far as like it goes in the brand space. So like, the blog and Facebook were really big when I started, and that was what a lot of what people were measured on were those two platforms. And then all of a sudden, Instagram came, and my immediate reaction to things like that is like, I'm like, whatever, this is what I do, and I'm slower to adapt to that. But other people are early adopters, and sometimes you're kind of gambling when like the winds blow a different way and a new platform is sort of like anointed as the one. It's like, well, do I put all my eggs in this basket, or how much time am I going to section off and invest in this new platform? Because I remember now, when we were all like on Instagram, and that was kind of like, that's the thing that everyone cared about and everyone was doing, then suddenly everyone was like, hey, follow me on Snapchat. And it's like every single post was follow me on Snapchat. I'm like, I don't care about Snapchat. Like, first of all, like, I'm on this platform, I'm on Instagram because I want to see what you're doing on Instagram. I really don't care what you do somewhere else, so like, don't use that I guess I had an issue with like using one platform to leverage another. I really don't think it works. I think there are different audiences on different platforms. But just as an example, like Snapchat for me, like as an older person, like that just never made sense. So I just never put any time into it. And I'm glad I did, because I don't think people really care about Snapchat anymore. I mean, maybe they do, but I don't know. Do people care about Snapchat?
Not our age.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Yeah.
I think that's such a good point about trying to use, like, I think like bloggers or writers are always told, like, traditionally like social media is a way to get traffic, and like that's just not the case now. Like at one point, maybe you could get a bunch of like viral traffic from Facebook, but I have like a decent little followings on various social media platforms, and like if you're on Twitter, you don't want to click a link and go read an article. You want to see more tweets.
Right. Yeah. Oh, Twitter. That's like throwing sand into the wind.
One of my friends is a very heavy Twitter user, and he texted me the other day because I like auto posted something from Instagram, and he was like, "Oh, this is how you should use Twitter," and blah. And I was like, I left Twitter 2 or 3 years ago, and I don't have any interest in it. I used to be obsessive about like reading tweets and following up and everything, and like and somebody like Tanner has built his entire business on Twitter, and I think that's what you're kind of getting to with the Snapchat thing, is like whatever feels native and comfortable to you is what you're going to succeed on. Like I feel really comfortable on YouTube. I don't feel as comfortable writing in the blog, and like Instagram is kind of like the thing over here on the side that I'll post things occasionally to. And so like that's where my biggest following is, and that's where I have the most success, and it's because I feel like that's my platform.
Yeah, I mean, hey, like if it works for you and it feels right and people are engaging, I think that's great. If Twitter's your thing, if TikTok is your thing, or whatever else is out there.
TikTok also makes me feel old.
I've never looked at it. Do they call them TikToks? I don't know. Or are they just
maybe
videos?
They're ticks. Maybe they're ticks. I don't know.
Yeah.
I was really into Vine though. Vine was my platform.
I was gonna bring up Vine. I was like, yeah, we're really big on Vine.
Did you use Vine? Was he spoke style on Vine?
I don't remember. We could search for it. I don't think I always like. I thought people were could be incredibly creative, but I thought for like the style and
Oh yeah, no way.
that like lifestyle, it didn't really kind of mix. It wasn't the right platform.
It was great for comedy.
Yeah.
That's actually a great segue because you on camera now, you're a natural on YouTube, and so I knew you had videos up on YouTube like when you came on, but it seems like you made the decision like, okay, YouTube is a place to be, and you've definitely you've grown since you put the attention into it.
Yeah, it really was a conscious decision to kind of refocus efforts onto that platform because I kind of like took a 30,000 foot view of what we were doing and where we would get the most return on investment. And I decided that, just seeing like where partnerships are coming from and what brands are interested in, it wasn't so much like, blog plus social anymore. It's like they want Instagram, and, we're lucky that we have like a, decent amount of traffic on the website. So it's like added value in that sense. But like in terms of what brands are looking for, it just wasn't the thing anymore. So, I mean, I think going to video was important, or the right move for me, in the sense that the things that bother me about Instagram are the things that I can very easily take care of and remedy through YouTube. So the things that get me on Instagram now is that it's just extremely saturated. There's so many people on there now, and everyone is kind of like doing the same thing. Everyone looks the same. They take the same photos in the same places. It becomes very difficult to distinguish anything. And if it's just about taking pretty pictures, I mean, people are doing a great job. But for me, it goes a little bit deeper. I want to know if the person that I am looking at in this photo knows what they're talking about. Are they intelligent? Do they have something to say about what it is they're doing? Or are they just taking pretty photos, So for me, like, I'm always trying to think, like, how can I stay a little bit ahead of the curve in a way? How can I adapt in such a way that I'm going to set myself up for success in the future? And I thought that video was an excellent way to do that because, put a camera in front of someone, they can edit it. Anyone can nowadays can take the same photo as anyone else. They have a nice camera. They learn how to edit, whatever. Your photo can look like the Instagram people with millions of followers, right? But put a video camera in front of them, make them talk about something. And I think that reveals a lot about the person immediately. You can tell whether they know what they're talking about, whether they've done their research, whether they haven't even bothered to look up the Wikipedia entry on whatever the topic is that they're talking about that particular day. It becomes very, very apparent. And one thing I've noticed about YouTube is that you find your tribe, and people appreciate what you do. And in certain sense, like, I feel on YouTube that I'm able to be even more of myself than I am in my pictures. I mean, obviously, like, my pictures are me, but it's like a different kind of thing. For me, Instagram is the art gallery. It's like this best kind of most curated. You can take 100 photos and you pick the one that looks the best, not the one that looked the worst, right? Mm-hmm. You're curating what you're putting out there. But video has just been a great way to engage with people, and that was a really interesting thing to me because I'm like, who's gonna listen? Like, I'm really boring. I think I'm boring when on camera. Just like, you put the camera up, you edit the photos a certain way for Instagram and you make it look awesome or whatever. But like video, it's just like, all right, I'm sitting here at my desk and I'm talking and I'm not super animated or anything like that. I'm just me. And so I was really curious to see how people would respond to that. And obviously it's been really great. I've been overwhelmed with the reaction and mostly the engagement that is something I haven't seen in a long time on Instagram. So yeah, it's been a good move.
Yeah, and there's definitely a thoughtfulness to if you find the right people to come in. It's like, YouTube can get pretty gross sometimes, but like especially on my channel, like I get nothing but like great feedback and suggestions and discussion. Like there is a lot of that really good stuff, and it's harder to do it on Instagram just because of the way the platform is set up. Whereas like YouTube, it's like you can go to the video and the comments are threaded and people interact with each other. I think the closest thing to that is like Reddit. It gets kind of close to that, where you have thoughtful people talking about things, and you'll get sometimes subject matter experts and that sort of thing. And so yeah, that's definitely why I prefer YouTube over the other ones.
The other thing between those two platforms that we're talking, like Instagram versus YouTube, is Instagram I've always felt is very passive. It's like this passive consumption. You watch people, you said, like on the train, that just keep scrolling through, bam, 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 and the photo's there and gone. Like, and if there is any kind of comments on a photo, it's generally passive and, hey, awesome look, or whatever, something like that.
But great shot. DM us to collaborate.
Yeah, right. But YouTube, like, people are on YouTube. They're going there with intent. They're wanting to learn something. I mean, I think YouTube exists for people to get free information, and that's just worked out really well. People are going to find something out about something that they're interested in, and if you're providing that to them, whether that's outfit inspiration or whether that's whatever you're passionate about, you will attract the people that you vibe with.
I remember talking to you about Instagram a while ago. This is when you were very much all in on Instagram and hadn't, I think, started YouTube yet, and you were saying we've really dialed it in. Like, we know that like the 3/4 shot outfit shot works the best. Like that's what people like and engage with. So have you found that on YouTube? Like, is there like a certain format or a certain theme that seems to work for your audience?
Well, yeah, it's pretty obvious what types of content that people respond to the most. For my channel, if people aren't familiar with it, it's the outfit videos, it's the watch content. I'm actually pretty amazed at the response that the watch content gets, because I'm not an expert at any of this stuff. I'm just like, I consider myself a normal person who's just exploring and putting out there what I'm into. In the watches in particular, I've learned a lot over time, but I would in no way, shape, or form consider myself an expert. I try to be like, I think I'm, like any guy who gets into something, we try to learn as much as we can about it, and I'm just sharing it as I learn it along the way. So anyway, it's outfit videos, it's watch content, and then fragrance does decent. Grooming is, I'm going to post about what I want to post about, and not just make content because it gets views or whatever. I think it's good to show. I mean, the channel is really just like another extension of what I've done with the blog or Instagram. So I want to really share a lot of what I'm into. The one thing I have found that people don't really care about is like whiskey or spirits content on YouTube. Unless you're like a whiskey reviewer, like that's your thing. If you're peppering it in as like part of your lifestyle on a channel that's mostly focused on, say, style or men's style watches, I find that those don't perform so well. But I don't really think about it in terms of like what's going to perform well. I just trying to make the videos that I think, I make the videos that I want to make, and if people respond to it, that's great. If not, like I'm not going to not do another fitness video or another running video just because like the running video was like a low performing video. It's something I want to share, and the people that did enjoy it told me and they want to see more. So
yeah, it's interesting how it does seem like YouTube kind of, and Google does this with your website too, but YouTube kind of silos you. They're like, pick 2 or 3 topics and like that's what we're going to give you the relevance, like the channel authority on those topics. But when you go out of those lanes, like we're not going to show it to anybody.
Yeah, the channel was growing very, very fast. And then like it sort of like hit this lull. And I thought about it for like 5 minutes and I'm like, I really don't care, whatever. I'm just going to keep doing what I do, and then, whatever happens, happens,
Yeah.
So you could spend so much time like obsessing over stats and gaming the system, and I don't have that kind of time. I need to focus on what I need to do, right?
YouTube is like the ultimate meritocracy. It's like if you do like nice stuff, like YouTube will put it out there, and then it's like the audience will kind of find you. But actually, what you just said is the exact trajectory. We just had a couple of like guests come back on after a year, and they all said the same thing, where it's like in the first like year and a half, you really watch the stats, and then you just start to realize that it's out of your hands. And then once people, especially like, Brock and I did this same thing in our trajectory too, is like once you accept like, all right, I'm just gonna keep making videos and enjoy the process, that's when you ultimately start to see that it all comes true. And that seems to be the case with almost any business. It's like, if you're just worried about revenue all the time, you're gonna be stressed out. If you just enjoy the process, then that's when the good stuff happens.
Exactly. And I'm like beyond, like, I mean, we were talking earlier, Brock, about like, like we had it dialed in, like it was the 3/4 shot. That's what people, responded to the most. Like, I know what people respond to, but I'm not like thinking like every video has to be like that, because we have to like, get tens of thousands of views, in the first 3 days. I don't care, so much anymore. I just want to, it takes me enough time to like actually sit down and put together the stuff that is going to be on camera. And as both of you guys know, it takes time to shoot. You shoot the video, you prepare, you shoot it, you edit it, put it up. It takes me an hour to like, put in all the metadata and, tags and description, blah, 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 blah,
Right. Yeah. Well, your channel did grow very quickly just compared to the average. So what can you attribute that to, besides just production quality, which is obviously top notch, but anything else that maybe other new channels could take away from?
I think I thought about this a little bit, and I'm wondering, like, well, what happened? How did it, catch on like that? And the kind of conclusion that I came to is I feel like the same thing happened when I started the website, like 6.5 years ago. It was that there were these sort of like establishment or people who've been around for a while. And, the audience is sort of looking for something new, something different, like a new face, a new voice, a new way of approaching things. And it was a little bit different in 2013 because there wasn't a whole lot of that going on to begin with. So it was a very like open space. But I think with YouTube, there are like the old guard, like the old guard, they're like younger guys, but like the dudes who've been doing it for a long time, the Alpha M's and the Real Men Real Style. And I don't know if Raphael's been around that long, but Teaching Men's Fashion, like those guys, those guys like have it dialed in. They really do. They know what they're doing. They were there since the beginning. And I think like maybe the YouTube like style audience was sort of craving something a little bit different. And I feel like the way that I've tried to do the videos is sort of like satisfying that thirst in some way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's so true. And there's other channels too that are also satisfying maybe the same audience, but in a different way. Like you look at Hugo, Tim DeSaint, just these guys who are doing, you see a video from like you or one of them for the first time. You're like, wow, that's so like different and refreshing in a lot of ways.
Right. And, my style is like, kind of like, I mean, I have like some wilder things that I do every now and then, but that's my personal style. But in general, like my style is very simple and classic and, tailored. And I think, it's no nonsense. It's looks that anyone can do. And I try to present them in a very, not overproduced way, so it is accessible. It's not like I'm on a Riva boat on Lake Como, some other place. Actually, speaking of that, John, you have to tell me about this. Where did you find that Connery bathing suit with that belt?
I had that custom made for my honeymoon in 2014, and at the time, like I found this pattern for it, and I sent it to my to like a local tailor, and I was like, hey, like, could you make this? And she was like, what the hell is this? And I remember picking it up, and she was like measuring me, and I had to have her like change it a little bit, and she just like shook her head when I walked out. But it's funny now because Olivar Brown put out a real one this year for $600. And
really,
mine is made like she got like terry cloth and just made it because I wanted the Goldfinger thing. But yeah, I had that custom made a few years ago.
I saw that video. Like that's the first look, right, in that video. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, that's amazing.
I've worn it very few times. Like I wore it a couple of times when we were at the resort on my honeymoon, and I wore it once to something else, but I can't bring myself to do it enough. And actually, even when we were down at that shoot, we were down on the river, and I was like, all right, just get the shot, and I'm going to go back inside and change.
What does your wife think of it?
She loves it. I heard discussion on like James Bond podcast when that came out where people were like, either you buy this because you're leaving your wife or because you are single and you don't have a wife. And I was like, well, what about guys whose wives support it? Because she's into it. Anything that shows my thighs, really.
Oh man, yeah, that was amazing.
So actually, and talking about your kind of refined style, just a couple weeks ago, my mother-in-law found one of your pictures. She's pretty heavy on Instagram, and she goes, "Oh, have you heard of this account, He Spoke Style?" And she was like winking at me. She's like, "Do you get it? He spoke like bespoke." And I was like, "Yes, yes, I get it." She goes, "He looks so refined. Look at him." So like, it was right. When did you post the London pictures? Like a week ago.
I was like, yeah, last week.
Yeah, it was that picture. She was like, "He's so refined. Look at him." And I was like, yeah, Brian's a very cool guy.
Yeah, that was fun. London was good. That was a fun trip.
Looks like it, nice. Yeah. Chez Lecoultre.
Yes.
You worked with them for a while, right? Because I saw you went to Miami with him, and you've had a long-standing relationship with him.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, we did Miami. I'm trying to think. Yeah, we did a program with them last year when they released the new Polaris. And then, yeah, we did Miami, just did London. And then for the rest of the year, we have a couple more things. There's a thing in Big Sur, like in September, I think. And then I'll visit the manufacturer in November. Yeah. So very cool. Yeah, it's a very nice brand. I love, there's sort of like a refined subtlety but like obviously they have a great story, great heritage, great tradition. It's a brand that really like makes sense for me. It's very much my own style. So brands like that, like brands like Longa, they're under the radar. They're not like as in your face, and they're not the big ones, but that's fine. People who know those brands, they get it. So those are the types of brands that I like to work with.
Nice. So when you're working with these brands, or if you're just doing, regular content, the website is obviously still a big part of the business, but you're spending so much time on video. So how is the website going, and how is, having an editor working on that?
It's good. So yeah, we have managing editor Stephen Elliott, and he's taking care of a lot of the sort of like content forecasting, and I've been wanting to put different faces on the website for a while. It's tough for to be like a one-man band in a way. I mean, I have Rob takes the photos now. He makes all the videos, and we have a video editor, of course. But yeah, it was important for me to keep it going. I definitely don't make enough content, myself to put up there. But it's difficult, just this time is at a premium these days, and we try to just figure out how to do it with the time that we have. If you want to get into, John knows what I'm talking about because he came and saw a performance, but I'm very happy to talk about this if you'd like.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a thing that's come up now more that I've been on YouTube, but I rarely talk about my other job or my real job because there are a variety of reasons, but I just like to keep them separate. But like now on YouTube, I'm on YouTube with He Spoke Style, obviously, but if more now people are wondering who I am that find me, and they search for my name, and they find me wearing a uniform. So yeah, my main job is that I play saxophone for the United States Army Field Band in Washington, D.C. I've been doing that for 16 years, and it's been, let's just say, I've gotten more busy these days because not only do I play saxophone, but I'm the announcer for the group. John saw me do that in Pittsburgh, and then recently I've become the public affairs person for the unit, which is a very big job with like, we call it a high risk position. I have to be involved with a lot of everything that's going on at the unit. So that's a lot more meetings. It's a lot more just to think about. So as I try to squeeze in making videos and stuff, it's really hard to do. And not only that, but that's myself. But Rob, my business partner, is also in the military, and he's a sergeant major. That's the highest rank you can be, and he's in charge of one of our performing elements. Like, he's the big boss. So he's incredibly busy. So it's whenever we find time to make content, we really have to be dialed in and ready to go, like locked and loaded. Just knock it out. You know what I mean? So
what's I remember the first time I met you in person in your back in the Baltimore studio, the original He Spoke Style studio. And of course, since then, you've moved. But I remember we talked about just the state of digital media and, the possibility of selling a digital brand and just like long-term goals. Like, what's changed in that time? Like, do you have any idea of what you want to do, going either full-time with He Spoke Style or doing something else, or eventually, leaving your military service? Like, do you have anything you can share about that?
Yeah, I mean, if I've learned anything over the past almost 7 years, it's that you really kind of don't know what's coming next, and you need to leave yourself open to different possibilities. Maybe 2 years ago, we were thinking about, could we sell the website in some way, but still retain control over other parts of what we do. But that's definitely a different conversation now, because websites just aren't as sexy as they used to be. I guess for me personally, I mean, I definitely would like to move into doing this full time, but with 16 years in the military, and I could retire in 4 years, I've got to do that. There's no way that I would say no to that kind of, retirement and pension and benefits and all that sort of thing for my family. I can't do that. So I'm definitely going to finish out my military career, and continue to do what I do with He Spoke Style until then. After that, I really don't know. I mean, we have obviously the e-commerce side of what we're doing, and finally, this fall we are launching something with Michael Andrews Bespoke, in collaboration with them for the He Spoke Style shop, and that's going to be a longer-term partnership that we're doing with them. I'm really excited about that. For me personally, I really enjoy doing the video stuff, and wherever that takes me, I don't know what it is. As for the last with the band, I do a lot of the media stuff. I do a lot of the television appearances, being public affairs. Like it's just something I feel very comfortable in, and something I've done for a long time. So if there's something like that, I don't know, media wise in terms of He Spoke Style. But I was talking with someone about a year ago, and it's so different now, because like he was saying, like, I could like pitch a television show idea to major networks or whatever, but like he's like, why not just do it myself, cut out the middleman. So I don't know what that is, but like one thing I can tell you is that I don't have the time or the mental energy to like focus completely on this as much as I would like to. It's like this nice outlet that I have, extracurricular thing, but until I can really devote my entire time to it, I really don't know like what's possible. Rob and I often talk about that. Like, man, like, especially when we have trips, like when we were just in London, it's like, that's what we're there to do. We're there to like work, and it's fun. And, it's just fun. And like, we're just not able to do that with the other job that we have at this point. So, but if like, I could just like bump around in the studio all day, we go out and make some videos, and that's all I had to think about, man, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
So that's what I look forward to.
It raises its own challenges, because I left my day job in September, and but what you said about pitching in networks, I had a very similar conversation I have a friend who works in the industry, and I was telling him about this idea for like a series, and he was like, oh yeah, he's like, I know this guy can raise you money and we can go do this thing, and I was like, but I could just do it on YouTube. Like, it's such
Exactly.
Everything is changing so fast, and like from the way that you've moved from Instagram to YouTube, and the way that just everything is moving. It's like, why are you going to go and try and pitch a Netflix? I mean, you want the money that Netflix can give you, but you can reach so many people on YouTube, and that's what's like the coolest part about it. And so it's you just gotta kind of wait and see, and just enjoy what you're working on now.
Right. I know. I mean, I wish I could like put out a video every day, but like it's a struggle to even get one at this point. We really try to shoot in batches, but if you've ever shoot outfit videos,
oh yeah,
for make that like 4-minute or 3-minute video, it takes forever, because you got to change it, make sure everything looks right. I mean, it's like first world problems, like,
and you got to have somebody come pick up all the clothes you leave on the ground.
Oh,
it's like a bomb went off in the studio. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. I mean, if you watch the like studio tour video that I did, like it looks so nice, and like everything's like put together. But like I'm looking around now as we're talking, and it's like the box is all it's a mess. It looks disgusting.
I could literally lose one of my children in the pile of sneaker boxes over in my corner.
I mean, like the cat like threw up on the rug, and I still haven't cleaned it up.
Well, you're living harmoniously with cats and Coco, and you got married since you were on the podcast. Wow. Big things happen in a year.
Yes. I mean, yeah. The dog is definitely, everyone said like, oh, it's going to be a lot of work. And I was like, no, it'll be fine. It's a lot of work. Especially with a German Shepherd. They have so much energy.
Mm-hmm. It looks like you guys have kind of like a nice yard though, or a nice kind of communal yard that you can let them out in. So.
Oh yeah. She'll chase the ball for hours and hours and hours. Working dog, so that's her job. I got to teach her how to bring my slippers to me. I don't.
Now, that would be a good video.
Yeah. So.
Nice. How do you like having the studio in the house versus a separate studio?
It's great, honestly. Like, I know maybe some people like, it's nice to have like that separation, but like, especially when you're dealing with clothes and like, I think it was really annoying, even though the studio was like just down the street from the apartment that we were living in. Like, it was annoying. We'd like go to do something. I'd be like, crap, I forgot this one stupid little thing that I need, and I got to go all the way back to the apartment. But like, if it's just upstairs, then I just got to walk upstairs. So that's really good. I enjoy it because, like I said, time is at a premium. So the fact that it's just there, we've got it in such a state now that we're really like plug and play, like the lights are set up, the microphone's set up, the cameras are in the spots they need to be. We don't have to move anything around. We recently invested in some cameras with they all have the same glass. They're all on different tripods and they're where they need to be. So there's no more moving the camera, setting the new tripod up, getting it just right. It's just like when we have the time to do it, we can just flip the switch and hit record and we're ready to go.
Nice. That's the YouTuber dream right there.
Yeah, it took some time to get there, but yeah, it feels good when we can just like, all right, let's record this video. 5 minutes later, it's done. I'm like, well, what do we do now?
Clean up.
How do you introduce yourself as an influencer, or do you consider yourself like a content creator? How do you bill yourself? I'm curious.
That's an interesting question because I think like universally we all hate the term influencer, right?
Yes. You only
would,
hate the word influencer if you actually have influence. If you want to be an influencer, then you love the word influencer. You like want to be an influencer.
yeah, I wouldn't consider myself like a content creator either, because I don't wouldn't really consider myself like an agency or someone like that, or like a super like creative person. There are definitely people who like get put under the influencer umbrella, whether they want to be called that or not, who I would consider content creator. A content creator is someone who's, in my view, is someone who's making like just something a little more unique. Maybe it's more thought out. They're working maybe just specifically for a brand, either in-house or freelance, whatever. I don't know. One thing I've thought about is like maybe tastemaker. Even that kind of is a little weird because I don't think like I influence or like if I post something, I don't think like all of a sudden like this wave starts and everyone starts doing it. But I don't really know. Tastemaker, I guess, would be like the closest thing.
I like tastemaker. It's definitely less bad than influencer. I'm just curious, like, because since September, when people will ask, like, what do I do? Like, I'll say YouTuber, and either if they're, like, under a certain age, they'll say, oh, my God, you have a YouTube channel, and, like, they get really excited, or somebody a little bit older, so I'm like, okay, like David Dobrik. It's like there's like a weird line that, and so I was just wondering, because I think of you as, like, military guy that does content, but tastemaker, I could roll with tastemaker.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you consider yourself, Brock?
Media mogul.
Yeah, I think
modest media mogul.
I did just finally start a new LLC to kind of house everything that I do. It's McGough Media LLC, so I'm pretty psyched about that. But yeah, I don't know. It depends how old the person is. Like usually, I just say blogger, YouTuber, or I run a blog and YouTube channel because that's what people understand. But you can always kind of tell how old or how tech savvy someone is because their next question, it's either like, oh, like you make money like that, or how many subscribers do you have? Or like, so depending on what they ask, you're like, all right, you get it.
See, I think YouTuber is kind of that's cool, but I guess there are YouTubers who, I don't know. Is it cool? YouTuber? Is it cool to be a YouTuber?
It is cool to young people, but there's definitely YouTuber. I mean, like the Paul brothers give it a bad name. It's like
Jake Paul.
Jake and Logan Paul, they give it a bad name. But then there's Casey, and there's so many good things associated with being a YouTuber. But then like right now, YouTube is in a lot of hot water because of everything they do basically is getting messed up, and so. I was just curious.
I mean, like, what was I going to say? Do you think the cream rises? Because I definitely don't think the cream rises on Instagram. Anyone can be the cream. Anyone can be like a member of like 10 comment pods and get hundreds of comments from people that are all commenting on each other's posts, and they get on the explore page. I wouldn't say that's the cream, you know what I mean?
I think the cream rises, but I also think in the last year we've seen the shift to people understanding true engagement, and that's why people that are in comment pods, you can kind of see it now, which is really interesting. And that's what I watch every week religiously. I watch Drink with James from James Nord from 4, and he started talking about that like 6 months ago. He's like, look, we're starting to look at true engagement and how many comments there are, and you can see when people buy engagement, whether it's through the promotions in the app and that sort of thing. And so I think the cream definitely rises on YouTube, and there's definitely response there. But that's part of what baffles me about Instagram is like I put up the James Bond picture the other day, and that's my most liked picture ever. And there's like,
because it's awesome,
because it's good. But if I took but I have a couple other pictures where I'm like, why did this one do so well? Because I was really excited about it, or why did it do so poorly? Because I was really excited about it. And I think my audience likes it. And there's also not as much discovery on Instagram, especially since they changed the Explore tab. Like if I go on my Explore tab right now, it's all old man Pierce Brosnan shots, because Instagram basically knows like I always like a picture with Pierce Brosnan with gray hair, and like I think because it's so tailored now, it's tough to get the same amount of reach, which is part of why YouTube is I think that's why you looked at YouTube and said there's so much opportunity here, because it's so much easier to get an audience. And when people are like, oh, I'm thinking about doing an Instagram or a YouTube, I'm like, do YouTube, because you're going to have more potential reach there.
Yeah. You know,
if that makes any sense.
You know what though? I think though, even with YouTube, because everybody says like, oh, YouTube's second largest search engine. And yes, that's technically true, but like, people, the way that YouTube, that most people get views on YouTube, or that YouTube gives views to videos, isn't through search. It's mostly through suggested videos, related videos, whatever. It's that, that little video at the top right, and that kind of changed how YouTube works. In the same way, like when Instagram changed their algorithm to not be chronological anymore. So I feel like I think like what you're saying about websites, Brian, is true. Like they're not sexy anymore, but there is so much opportunity right now in websites. And I think people kind of sleep on them because they don't come with fame or so-called influence. But I mean, I know people in the digital marketing world who are building and selling websites for 6-7 figures, and people will never, until Google really changes something, people will never stop just going to Google and Googling stuff. And I think that's what most people do first. They don't go to YouTube.
Brock is making blogging great again, is what he's trying to say.
I'm doubling down on blogging.
Yeah, Brock has been low-key doubling down on blogging to make it great again.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. I wish I had the time to do it, but I'm picking my spots.
Yeah, well, you're obviously doing a lot of things right, so we're excited to keep watching. And is there anything like, I don't know, next 6 to 12 months that you're super excited about?
For YouTube, I'm thinking about next week.
No, well, you in general, what's He Spoke Style look like in the next 6 to 12 months?
Well, the big thing is that we're going to be rolling out the partnership with Michael Andrews, Bespoke, in the fall, and that's basically so. What it's going to be is sort of like. Well, not sort of like, this is what it's going to be. So every fall, winter, and spring, summer, I'm creating basically 12 looks for each of those 2 seasons. So a total of 24 looks per year. And all of these looks are, you'll be able to get right through the He Spoke Style shop. And it's basically, we are going to be the online provider of, Michael Andrews has a brick and mortar store now in New York City, but they're going to be doing online made to measure, and that's going to be available in the He Spoke Style shop only. And these looks that you'll be able to get are online made to measure, so you'll be able to customize certain parts of it, whether you want a peak or notch lapel, double breasted, single breasted, things like that. But in general, like, it's going to be, I think one of the problems that we saw when we were talking about it is there's just too many options. Like if you go to an online made to measure service, there's hundreds of fabrics. There's just, you're overwhelmed. Like when I go to the grocery store, if I don't have a list, like I completely forget why I've gone there, and I have no idea what I want to get. But like if it's just the 12 looks that you'll see, like you either like it or you don't, if you like it, you have the option to, or the ability to purchase that. So not really an Everlane approach where we're just dropping something new like every other week or whatever, but similar in terms of how we're going to roll out the content to support that. That's the big thing.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so you will be the exclusive online source for Michael Andrews Bespoke.
Yep, for their made to measure. That's right.
Man, that's amazing.
We'll see. So, yeah, that's the main thing. Other than that, I can't really think that far in advance, but this has been simmering for a while, and we're finally making a move on it for the fall.
Awesome.
That's great. Well, we have some quick questions we call rapid fire that I want to blast at you real quick before we sign off.
Yes. Okay, sweet.
All right, Oxfords or Brogues?
Brogues.
Morning shower or evening shower?
Morning.
Your favorite Bond actor?
Sean Connery.
Cardio or lifting?
Cardio.
What was the last book you read?
Well, no. Do I have to? Can I do both?
Caveat.
Yeah.
That's good. No, I see you. You put in your reps in all places.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
right.
that's good.
Gotta
the
sip it.
the last book you read and enjoyed.
I've started a lot of books recently. I know this is not rapid fire. I don't remember. Well, the last book I started was I remember. There were a couple books that were recommended when we were doing the live show. Fantomas, that one, the French noir book, and then A Gentleman in Moscow.
Okay, good to know. Put those on the list. Chinos, jeans, or trousers?
Trousers.
In terms of style, spring, summer, or fall, winter?
Fall, winter.
Loafers or sneakers?
Loafers.
And if you're getting in the shower and you want to like pump yourself up for the day, what song are you playing?
Oh boy, I really don't listen to music. Isn't that weird? I'm a musician.
The irony.
Yeah, that's interesting. What do you listen to on your runs? Do you do audio?
Actually, no. Okay, so when we, this is a good one. So when we shoot the outfit videos, I always have like this certain playlist going on while we're doing them. You know, we get the shot, we get the full length, the 3/4, the details, and the handheld shots, right? Mm-hmm. And it's always the same playlist on Spotify. It's I love my '90s hip hop. That and every time we're like shooting and my wife's upstairs, she's like, "Can you listen to something different?" I'm like, no, this is the best music.
I was hoping the playlist was called Classy AF, but that's also pretty good.
No, I mean, you know, it's good stuff. That's when hip hop was awesome. It starts out when we see. I mean, I am Michael Bolton from Office. Yeah, it's got Hypnotize, Regulate. It was a good day. Gin and Juice, Juicy, Feel Me Flow, If I Ruled the World.
So you got to search "I love '90s hip hop" on Spotify. We'll find that.
I love my '90s. Yep, that's the one.
I'll try and put that in the show notes. Great. Well, it's been great catching up with you, Brian. Love seeing success on YouTube, and every time I see a post, it was so funny. I was watching your running video, and I was like, "Wow, he's really steamy." And then in the comments, people are like, "Whoa, steamy!" And so
it was actually surprisingly chilly that morning, which I was thankful for because there's no way I could complete that run in the heat and humidity we're having recently.
Oh yeah, I know. So, but it's great. Keep an eye out for Michael Andrews Who Spoke. Heading to some shows for Gégé Lecoultre, and looking forward to seeing more stuff from He Spoke Style.
Thanks, guys. It's nice catching up with you too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you too.
We will.